developers on the oilable basins and its apex, New Udra, or our inside look at how the devs select monsters. And for everything else in the world of gaming, stick with IGN.
This is definitely a different stream. State of play, huh?
2024 was a bit of a bumpy road for PlayStation. Things started out well with the surprise success of Helldivers 2, the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and the slick action duo of Stellar Blade and Black Myth Wukong. But things took a downward turn in the summer thanks to Concord's failure to launch. The doomed hero shooter and soft closing of developer Firewalk Studios was certainly a low point for Sony, even if a delightful little robot did his best to brighten the mood in the fantastic Astrobot.
As the title
Since then, we've
states,
seen the
open
arrival
for
of the PS5 Pro, an even more powerful PlayStation 5 console that comes at an eye-watering
Kingdom Hearts 4.
price, and has been
That's what I'm
met with
hoping
a mixed
for.
reception. But with time ticking away, there's barely time left in 2024 to dwell on PlayStation's past. So, what does the upcoming year have in store for PlayStation? With almost all of its first-party studios keeping cards close to chest, you may be mistaken for thinking things are looking quiet. But let's delve in deeper to see exactly what games to expect for the PS5 in 2025, as well as make a few hopeful guesses of our own.
It sucks.
Firstly, let's look at what's scheduled to come from those all-important PlayStation studios. Sucker Punch's Ghost of Yotai is certainly looking like the headline attraction, and it's coming to PS5 in 2025.
Yawn.
The sequel to 2020's open-world samurai adventure Ghost of Tsushima is set to be a stunner as we're introduced to both a new hero and northern Japanese location. Let's hope for some gameplay trailers early next year or in the summer ahead of a winter release. There's also Fair Games, the debut game from Haven Studios. It's a multiplayer heist shooter, and so it will certainly be
only here
to see what lessons PlayStation has learned from the live service disaster of Concord. First revealed in 2023, we're yet to see any gameplay.
That's the only reason.
That doesn't mean it won't hit its target of a 2025 release date. And
someone said
those are the
Fortnite
only
too, that's
PlayStation
crazy.
Studio games we currently know are slated for a 2025 release.
PS5 Pro remake,
and with no actual dates locked in yet, we can barely plot out what to expect in each part of the year. But that isn't to say there won't be more big games coming to PS5. And we can certainly theorize that.
Why are people saying GTA 6, dude? That's not gonna come out until like, dang it. Five Nights at Tidy's is crazy, bro. What?
We know that Naughty Dog's next adventure will take us to the stars in Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. We don't expect to be playing this in 2025 though, but we'll happily eat up any more info Neil Druckmann and the team wants to share about it, especially if that includes some of that laser blade gameplay. Marathon has a lot of weight resting on its shoulders, not only because it will be Bungie's first full release since it was acquired by Sony, but alongside Fair Games, it will be PlayStation's first big live service shooter to follow in those quickly fading steps of Concord. Destiny developers have as strong a shooter pedigree as anyone in the business, so it will certainly be interesting to see the result of its work as it aims to
Pro
revive
2,
its
bro,
fulfillment
what?
90s series as a multiplayer extraction shooter. And could 2025 be the year that Death Stranding 2 On the Beach emerges from its oily cocoon? Hideo Kojima was at the Game Awards but didn't bring a new trailer with him. Unacceptable behaviour if you ask me. Are we any closer to knowing what it's all about? Who's to say, but we certainly want to play it. And
Why do we got like Tom from Game Theory speaking to us, bro?
The upcoming stealth action PlayStation exclusive from the Metal Gear Master.
Hey brother, do you miss me?
I sold my PS5 Pro to buy a PS4 Pro. It's time for an upgrade.
Especially if you're big into swords. Phantom Blade Zero looks set to be a flashy hack-and-slash action RPG from Chinese studio S-Game. A semi-open-world samurai bloodfest with Souls-like elements, it certainly doesn't look to be lacking in style. No release date has been given as yet, but let's hope for next year. Speaking of blades, Where Winds Meet is a PS5 console exclusive RPG set in ancient China. Taking place during the Ten Kingdoms era, you step into the shoes of a warrior who wields influence over warring dynasties, shaping history with the point of your sword.
Kingdom Hearts disappear on this appears. I'm killing myself on this.
Originally set for a 2024 release before being delayed to add even more content to its
Come on, bro. We need Kingdom Hearts, yes.
It wouldn't be a shock to see it finally arrive within the next 12 months.
It's good, I guess. Oh, Kingdom Hearts. Yes, sir. Brothers and
But wait, there are even more
Fortnite 2.
swords
No,
and
there's not.
bigger blades in
Bro,
Ballad of
what?
Antara, a
What?
free-to-play co-op
Fortnite
action
2?
RPG packed with
What?
multiple protagonists and intertwining stories coming to the
Much
PS5 in
when?
2025.
What?
We'll get a better look at it soon with
Dude,
a beta
fucking
promised to be on
Fortnite
the
2?
way.
They're still up
Think
to
we're
me.
done with swords? Think again.
Fortnite.
This
There's
next
no
game
Fortnite
even has
2.
one in the title, Sword of the Sea.
sure it's
You don't
fine.
use this one to fight with though. Instead, you'll be plonking your feet on it and riding around
I
at
mean,
speed.
oh.
Tony Hawk or Metaphor Refantasio style.
I mean,
From Apsu and the
this game looks
Pathless
pretty
Studio
cool.
giant
Fortnite
Squid,
2.
the
No!
trailer
No
contains
Fortnite
a
2!
Journey.
God
Some
damn it!
mysterious cloaked character hover swords around vast desert ruins. Another relatively fresh announcement, having only been revealed at September's State of Play, The Midnight Walk is the next game from Lost in Random developer Moon Studios. An adventure handcrafted
that?
with clay, it's set to be one of the most visually striking games of 2025. Plus, it's even coming out on PSVR 2. At least someone
PSVR
is helping out
2.
that long-forgotten little guy. The
Oh,
last
even that-
PS5
well-
exclusive we're going to highlight is a game we wrote about exactly this time last year in our 2024 look ahead. Hopefully,
Ew.
2025 will be the year we finally get to clumsily bumble our way
Ooh.
through the world of baby steps.
Oh.
The PS5 console exclusive, the team up from the developers behind Getting Over It and Ape
shouldn't-
Out,
yeah.
looks equal parts agonizing as it does hilarious.
This is like getting over for console. The fuck?
That may be it for exclusives, but there are plenty more multi-platform games coming out in 2025 that are set to make it a bumper year for PlayStation players. Alongside the arrival of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle onto PS5, there's Elden Ring Night Rain, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Monster Hunter Wilds,
Oh, just show the-
Judas,
just show Kingdom
Borderlands
Hearts 4
4,
already!
The Dark Ages, and Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake
You know what?
Eater, to
FNAF,
name but a
whatever.
few. Oh,
Sonic,
and a little
cool,
game called Grand Theft
sure.
Auto 6.
Come on!
Could be good,
The
who
Kingdom
knows?
Hearts. Trust?
Trust.
Now for the fun part, the section where we get to cross our fingers and conjure up games that don't exist yet, but maybe will appear before our eyes in 2025.
More
Insomniac
Spider-Man?
has had a relatively
Really?
quiet year, for a studio that puts out new releases with such regularity, that is. But understandable considering it continues to recover from the data breach suffered at the end of 2023. We know that Wolverine is in the works, but don't yet know exactly when it will be in our hands. And if rumours are to be believed, a Venom game is scheduled to arrive before it. While it may be unlikely that we'll be playing either of these superhero stories within the next 12 months, we might get a clearer picture of what is coming next from the Spidey studio. The same can be said for Santa Monica Studio. What's next for the God of War developer is a mystery,
Bro,
although we
God
do know
of War,
Cory
I
Barlog,
mean-
game director of 2018's God of War,
I know
moved
that.
on to helm a new project in 2021 after leaving Eric Williams to fill Ragnarok's director seat. Could we see what Barlog's game is in 2025?
We'll make our own destiny.
As for other PlayStation studios, can we expect yet more delves into the world of Horizon from Guerrilla Games, with an online
Horizon?
multiplayer game reportedly in development at the Amsterdam developers?
not Kingdom Hearts
And it's been
4.
a long time since Bend released Days Gone, almost 6 whole years in fact, and the studio has hinted that it's making another open world adventure. Little is known apart from that, but it's safe to say we'd like to learn more. The truth is, we know very little about what is in the pipeline from many of Sony's first-party studios. So don't be surprised if the PS5 is in for another relatively quiet year in 2025. We'd be more than happy to be wrong about that though, and be pleasantly surprised by a flurry of
Be more than
reviews
happy
and
to learn
releases.
about Kingdom
And
Hearts,
finally,
man.
could Sony's interest in acquiring the massive Kadokawa company, which alongside a huge anime portfolio
Exactly,
also
please,
owns From
Cage
Software,
4. Goat
finally result
Simulator,
in a
that's
Bloodborne
disgusting.
remaster or sequel? I
Yeah,
know we said these
no,
are hopes and
no.
dreams, but don't be silly.
Guitar Hero, Persona.
In terms of hardware, Sony has been very busy over the past couple of years with
I'll
the
have
PSVR 2, PlayStation Portal, and PS5 Pro all released to varying levels of success. As a result, we expect things to be quieter on the hardware front when it comes to 2025. However, it may be the year we finally see the PS5 Pro justify itself further as an expensive upgrade
Oh,
if
really,
games
how?
like Ghost of Yotai and GTA 6 start to push the base PlayStation 5 to its limits.
Okay.
It will certainly be interesting to see how developers
Cool,
embrace this
GTA
new
6
tech
mentioned,
over the
I
next
guess.
year or so.
Ew.
And if we start to see genuinely impressive comparisons between the original PS5
mean,
and Pro. But while we expect actual
it
hardware
kinda
releases
just like
to be
normal
quiet,
GTA.
we've heard whispers that there may be some news to share a fresh PlayStation
Phantom
tech in
Blazing Kingdom Hearts right now.
2025.
Okay,
Could we
bro,
see
but
Sony take
like-
another stab at the handheld
Bro, we
market?
literally
Stick
talked
with
about this
those
yesterday.
Portal. I have no qualifications when it comes to hardware
We literally
engineering.
talked about this
How are
yesterday.
the lads? In all seriousness though, if recent reports are to be believed, then
GTA
maybe
6
we
looks
could
like
actually see a
PS3 graphics.
successor to the PSP and PS Vita in the
You
coming
said
year,
it, GTA
or at
6
least
reference,
an
I'm like,
announcement
shut
of
up.
one. Let's be honest, it's all guesswork, isn't it? Got your own theories and hopes for what we'll see from PlayStation in
Ew.
2025? Let us know in the comments below,
Yeah.
as well as what you're most
Kingdom
excited
Hearts
to
4.
play. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
No, fuck IGN, dude. Watch, they're gonna shoot me down for that. Come on, bro. Okay, cool, IGN. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay! Let's go! Is it finally time? Well, I guess not, right? PlayStation Portal. Okay. Who the fuck would even use this? Like, Pulse Elite wireless headset. Well, I mean, it'd be kind of cool, I guess. But like, you got like the Steam Deck, the Sense Edge wireless controller. So, oh, look at that. PS5. Cool, PS5 controller with like 4 extra buttons. What is this, the fucking Switch?
HBO has given us a brand new look at The Last of Us Season 2, which will be airing on our television
Last of
screens in
Us.
April of this year. It's only a short teaser, clocking in at just under a minute, but that doesn't mean
Oh,
there aren't any
damn, what happened
shots,
to him?
scenes, and characters that are worth taking a closer look at. From a grief-ridden hospital corridor to an
Exactly. Kingdom Hearts 4,
anger-harboring,
Kingdom Hearts
red-drenched
4.
hospital corridor, we've got you covered, as well
Stop
as some
deleting
other
videos,
non-corridor-related
suck,
details.
also co-op.
So here are 5 new
Goofy.
details, as well as
It's not
comparisons
LA Red
between the
Dead
show
Redemption.
and Naughty
Don't you
Dog's
want to be
original
better
game
for me too, so I
that we
get
picked out from the brand new
confirms.
trailer.
Skyrim.
As the teaser opens, we get our first glimpse at the aftermath of The Last of Us's
Silk
most
Song,
pivotal
Last of
scene.
Us.
An abandoned hallway bathed by a flashing red light
not
is soundtracked
Ellie.
by an alarm sound that will no
tomorrow,
doubt
what
send
the
shivers down the
hell?
spine of anyone who has played the game. Chronologically, this takes place moments after Joel's fateful decision to rescue Ellie from
Boo.
the Fireflies at the end of
It's not
Season
Ellie.
1. We see a panicked
Sunny
Abby,
Face and
portrayed
Crossbow.
here by Caitlin Dever, walk down the
Abby.
corridor leading to the operating theater of St. Louis's fictional St. Mary's Hospital. In that room,
Oh,
she'll
yeah.
find the body of her dad, the surgeon whom Joel murdered.
Yeah,
to save
yeah, my
Ellie.
friend played
It's the action that sets the
Last
wheels
of
in
Us
motion for
Part
Part
2.
2's and, we assume, Season 2's story of spiraling revenge and violence. Speaking of revenge and violence, that is exactly what is taking place in this scene just before the trailer ends, which shows Bella
Wait.
Ramsey's Ellie bathed in a red light in a corridor at Lake Hill Seattle Hospital.
These were
This
old
is almost
days.
certainly a replication of the moment in The Last of Us Part 2 when,
right?
having cornered one of Abby's accomplices,
so it was
Nora,
open,
Ellie
okay.
proceeds to unleash what can only be described as a
Oh!
ferocious assault on
Damn!
a fleeting victim. It's a real
Oh!
turning point for Ellie in the game's story as we really see for the first time
Oh.
how unstable she has become and the uncomfortable
remember
lengths
that.
to which she'll go in search of vengeance. The Last of Us Part 2 is consistently incredibly violent, even
Ooh.
by its predecessor standards. And 20 seconds into the teaser, we get our first look at a bladed sickle weapon, which
Ooh.
presumably belongs to one of the Seraphites.
I'd love to have
Also
that in
known
real
as
life.
Scars, this cult-like
Reminds me of
faction from
freaking
the game favors
Futaro
more
from
workman-like
Demon
weaponry,
Slayer.
such as hammers, machetes, bows, and in this case,
The
sickles.
Secret of the
This may
Mimic!
seem like
Bro.
a really tenuous detail, but this
I don't care
specific
how
tool
much of a
destruction
fan
or
I am of
harvesting
FNAF.
Beth's
FNAF has
Warner
been
Speed
flopping
plays a
so
key
bad
role
lately.
late in The Last of Us Part 2's story. In
Dang.
a brutal showdown with a pickaxe-wielding
Ooh.
Seraphite heavy, Abby achieves bloody victory with
Ooh.
a sickle,
Ooh.
tearing apart the Seraphite's face in a sequence that's frequently harrowing.
Oh,
21-second
dang,
mark, we
bro.
get a lovely close-up of Jeffrey Wright, who plays Isaac Dixon, the leader of the Washington Liberation Front, a paramilitary organization that Abby works with. Following the
hungry, bro.
footsteps
I'm
of
gonna go
Season
get some
1
food
actor
real quick.
Merle Dandridge, who played
And I left my
Marlene,
food.
Wright actually reprises his role from the game, where he provided voice and motion capture for Dixon in The Last of Us Part 2. A complicated character consumed by conflict, as many are in this story, Dixon doesn't get a ton of screen time in the game. Here's hoping we get a bit more of him in the show, as well as more of that fetching beard and knitwear combo. Where did he get that sweater? And finally, at 24 seconds in, we get a look at one of the most memorable scenes from across both The Last of Us games, the Jackson dance. Dina, played in the show by Alien Romulus's Isabella Merced, can be seen embracing Ellie in a scene that will spark their romance. It's a real warm moment of tenderness amongst the cold hopelessness that the rest of the story projects, which is likely why it endures as such a memorable moment. It will be interesting to see if the chronology of the events is being played around with a little here. In The Last of Us Part 2, the dance occurs right at the end of the story in flashback form, but we already know that Season 2 of the show is not going to reach that far into the timeline. The fact that we're seeing it here in the trailer suggests Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin might be tweaking the order we see these scenes, perhaps to help cement the emotional stakes of Ellie's journey. We won't have to wait long to see what changes, if any, have been made to The Last of Us Part 2 story, though, with Season 2 of the show only a few months away. What are you most excited about to see in the upcoming episodes? Let us know in the comments, and for everything about The Last of Us, be sure to stay right here at IGN.
Cool. What is this, bro? The hell?
There are so many damn gaming headsets out there, and every company wants to
Kingdom
flex and
Hearts!
say theirs is the best. But not everyone can be the best. Now, I have years of experience reviewing gaming headsets, testing them in competitive games such as Valorant and Counter-Strike, and listening to a wide range of music genres to really examine their sound quality. Of course, comfort is a major factor too, and so are things like microphone quality, durability, and all the cool features you can add on top.
Our phone quality
Regardless
sucks,
of how much
dude.
you can spend,
Just get like
you
a
should
gaming
always
mic.
get the best your money can buy. And
Or just get a gaming mic.
every headset I'm recommending in this video, I
Like
have
my
firsthand
headset is like
experience with,
4
I can
years old
vouch
and
for
it works
them,
perfectly
and I'll be
fine.
going through why I made my picks. And every one of these headsets are available on all modern gaming platforms, but just be sure you get the right model, especially if you're on Xbox. Now, that's
Why
enough
Xbox?
preamble. Let's get into the top gaming headsets from budget to best.
The lesbians in us three.
Turtle Beach knows what it's doing when it comes to gaming headsets, and even if
Do
you go
that.
down their pricing hierarchy, there are a lot of great options, like the Stealth 500. Although it's quite bulky in its physical design, I really like the super flexible and durable headband. And
Really?
that also translates to good comfort as it rests easy on your head, plus it has soft and plushy ear pads.
Let me guess, you gotta make like bands just to fucking get it.
More importantly, the sound quality you get from the Stealth 500 is nothing to scoff at. While it may struggle a little bit with higher frequencies as you crank up the volume, maybe a little higher than it should be, you still get strong bass and clear mids that make games sound full without feeling artificial. With the signature sound profile in Turtle Beach's Swarm 2 software, you'll be set without having to fiddle with too many EQ settings. And I really like the positional audio on the Stealth 500, which I sussed out playing a bunch of rounds of Counter-Strike 2, so you don't really need to shell out the big bucks to get that kind of advantage. Even at this
spatial
price
audio?
point, you get Bluetooth as an option, and you can swap between devices with the press of a button. Microphone quality isn't great, but it's serviceable, and you can communicate clearly with people online, and you can customize it through the Swarm 2 software
I can
as
do
well.
that with my gaming
It's no
mic, dude.
surprise that at a budget level headset, you have to make a
saying.
few compromises, but the Stealth 500 gets the essentials right. At a base price of $80, you get a lot of bang for your buck, but you can often find it on sale to save even more
80
money on
bucks?
what's already a great budget-level wireless headset.
I mean, it's not that bad. But dang, I thought it would have been more. I'm not even gonna lie. Mid-range.
No matter which
Mid.
model of the HyperX Cloud headsets you go with, you're likely to get a quality product. But if you want something that approaches the high end without really having to ball out, I always recommend the HyperX Cloud 3. It punches above its weight with fantastic sound, impressive microphone quality, and great comfort. Plus, it's built like a brick house, so it's not going to fall apart over years of use. You could stretch out the headband and contort it every which way, and you're not going to feel like you're breaking the thing. Stretching the headset out to get it to fit on your head is super easy, and you can toss them on your desk without worrying about damaging it. But it's also built for comfort, and I really like its cushioned headband and the dense memory foam that make up its ear pads that are wrapped in leatherette. At the end of the day, it's all about sound quality. The Cloud 3 handled various frequencies wonderfully. I was confident in tracking enemy footsteps in Valorant,
talking about
and I loved
Delta,
going through
what?
hectic raids in Final Fantasy XIV with all the sound effects and the soundtrack
Skate
blasting
4?
at the same time. So across
Bro,
the board,
Skate-
this headset handled
Skate
games
3
and
has
music
been, like,
gracefully. Assuming you're budget conscious
Planet
or
Remastered?
primarily play on console where a standalone mic isn't really a thing,
Guys
you
used
want
to
the
think
best
English was so
microphone
bad. Yeah,
possible.
seriously.
Luckily, the Cloud 3's microphone clarity approaches even some entry-level standalone mics, and it is one of the most impressive
clarity.
parts about this headset. And that's
This is
saying
boring
a
as
lot,
fuck. Where are the
considering
games?
that
Exactly,
another impressive
dude.
aspect
I've
is
fucking gotta wait
battery
like
life. This thing can
20 more
last
minutes,
upwards of
25 more
100
minutes,
hours
bro.
off of a full charge.
Like, come on.
The base price for the wireless version is $150, but it often goes on sale, further making the Cloud 3 a great value. And if you don't mind wires, the wired version is even cheaper, starting at $100.
You know what else sells at $100? This stupid fucking stream. Like, bro, come on. High end.
You can ask anyone who has used the Odyssey Maxwell if it's worth the asking price, and you're gonna get the same answer.
No.
It's a resounding yes, and that includes me.
And that includes me. Bro, trying to fit in. Like, bro.
It sports a sleek, nondescript design like many headphones of the audiophile variety, and performs just like one as well. Sometimes I
Of
need
the
to, like, break away from
audiophile
this idea
variety?
that wired
Bro,
headphones
what?
are always better for sound quality, especially when the Odyssey Maxwell has proved me wrong. Its 90mm
PlayStation
planar
7,
magnetic
okay.
drivers
Like-
jump out from the spec sheet, and while bigger drivers don't always
Where are
mean
these
better sound
games
quality, this is
we're
one
talking
case in which the audio experience matches that flex in driver size.
Minecraft
Overall
2?
clarity, balance across
What are you
frequencies,
talking about?
and just a really rich audio profile help the Odyssey Maxwell stand out from the rest of the
What?
pack. Trust me, it
Kingdom Hearts
sounds
suck.
absolutely fantastic.
How much is that Kingdom Hearts sucks? OnlyFans too. Kingdom Hearts. Well, okay. Kingdom
Well,
Hearts
the headset I
1
recommend
sucks.
has robust
Kingdom
features
Hearts
and
3,
great
it's
sound.
okay.
It's
Kingdom
hard
Hearts
to
2,
compete with
lay that
Odyssey
one.
Maxwell purely from an audio perspective, and it's also comfortable to wear for long sessions. That said, it is on the heavier side of gaming headsets, and it's built like a tank. But if you don't mind that, then it's more of a non-issue. When you get a great mix of fantastic sound quality, a solid mic with great noise isolation, and upwards of 80 hours of battery life, it's easy to justify the cost. At normal price, the Odyssey Maxwell goes for $300, so if you can catch it on sale,
OnlyFans
I highly
Slayer 2.
recommend
Yes,
the jump.
sir. Oh god, bro. We need that. We need that.
Now, for my top recommendation,
How's
the
DA
SteelSeries
Games
Arctis Nova
better
Pro,
than the Living
which, fun
Tombstone?
fact, is the only
Kingdom Hearts
headset
4,
to earn
yes.
a 10 on
Half-Life
IGN's
3,
review
not gonna
scale,
happen.
and it's easy to see why.
Minecraft 2, not gonna happen. Half-Life 3, not gonna happen.
It's beautifully designed with
Fans
slim and
co-op
sleek ear cups
gaming,
that don't
what?
sacrifice the top-notch
Yo.
quality that SteelSeries headsets are known for.
Switch
it also
2
has
and new
telescoping
Mario.
arms
This
for
is
better
Sony,
footwork
not
and
Nintendo!
which is a criticism of SteelSeries headsets in the past. And that
Half-Life
signature
7,
suspension
what?
headband really helps take pressure off the top of
God
your
of
head.
War.
Most importantly,
Rock-
the Arctis Nova Pro offers
Minecraft 2,
incredible
that's
sound and really packs a
Microsoft,
punch
not
with
Sony.
its 40mm
What?
neodymium drivers.
That's supposed 3.
It's
No, they
tuned
just
to
not.
handle
What?
frequencies across the
Portal
EQ
3,
spectrum
not gonna happen.
beautifully,
Switch
and there's
3,
a ton of
2's not even
customization
out
you can
yet.
do in the SteelSeries software.
Its
Its spatial
let's
audio
see.
is crucial as well, so
Switch
you can
4,
pick up on enemy
2's not even out
footsteps and
yet.
fire in any which direction
Rockstar
in a
made
competitive
GTA 6
shooter, for
Discord.
example.
I don't care.
In addition
Switch
to
for-
active
oh my-
noise
okay.
cancellation, there are some
Portal
unique
3 not gonna
features
happen.
that
Team
make
Sonic
the
Racing
headset
Crossroads.
special, and that big
Maybe.
price tag a little
Switch- oh
easier
my
to
God,
accept.
shut up
The
with
hot
the Switch,
swappable
dude.
rechargeable batteries are
GTA
clutch.
6,
You get
GTA 2,
so while you're
what?
using one, the other can charge, so you never really need to plug in
Switch
the headset.
7.
You also get a base station
PS10
where you can
die
control all
and
the
then
headset's
die
features
now,
effortlessly.
and then
That's also
Switch
the thing that
8.
charges the headset's batteries.
Awesome, perfect.
The
no need to
retractable mic gives
repent.
great clarity
Days
and blocks
gone,
outside
after
noise
GTA
really
6.
well. It tucks into the
Switch
headset.
9. That's
and sits flush
Nintendo!
when you
Oh
don't
my-
need it, so it
Shut
maintains
up.
the vibe
This
of
guy
a
shut
high-end
up.
pair of headphones rather than
Ron
an
just got back together
extravagant
releasing a
gaming
music
headset.
game. Oh no. Spider-Man 2.0 Switch. Shut up, dude. Oh my god. Alex Santi, I will
The
find
Arctis
your
Nova
house.
Pro is one of the most well-rounded headsets and one of the best you
Sonic
can buy
Labyrinth, dude.
right
That game's
now. The
fucking
wireless
old.
version has a base price of $350, but
GTA
it's
69.
often on sale at around $300 or even
Silk
less.
Song
Yes,
2.
that's
Oh
still
my God, can
pricey,
people shut
but it
up?
is a
I
case
will
in
marry
which
you.
you get what you pay for.
Left Dead 4. What? Left 4 Dead? Give me. What?
Those are my top picks for gaming headsets from budget to best.
Dude, what is this?
If you end up
Sonic
unsatisfied with
Adventure
any of the
3.
recommendations I made, you could fry me
Basically
over in the
Sonic
comments
06
at
if it was
IGN.com,
good.
where we have buying guides for every gaming peripheral imaginable. If you want something a little bit more discreet in your
Kingdom
audio
Hearts
game,
4,
you should check out our
finally!
video on
Someone
the best
come
wireless
fucking
earbuds
sense!
too. Until next time, For all things in the world of gaming tech, stick with IGN.
Anton, oh man, can't wait for Minecraft 2. That was Microsoft. Xbox better. No one gives a fuck. Sonic Frontiers 2.
From Software has become a leading developer of action RPGs, crafting a number of unforgettable journeys into grimdark lands filled with horrors and wonder in equal measure. But despite its unrivaled approach to level and lore design, FromSoft's lasting legacy will likely always be its bosses. Deeply challenging, typically horrific foes that push your skills to the very limits.
You will lose everything.
I don't care.
With all this in mind, we asked ourselves, what are the best boss fights From Software has made? We assessed not just the
Spyro
challenge of each
4.
fight, but
Spyro's
every
still
element of the
frozen?
battle, the music,
Resident
the
9,
setting, the
Bloodborne
mechanical
2,
complexity, the lore significance,
Grave,
and many
Pokemon
other
Lips,
details.
Xbox
This
is
isn't
good
a list
foot
of the
rest while I
most
play
difficult
PS5.
bosses. This is a list of the
Both are
greatest
good.
bosses in From
I see my
Software
Pookie
history.
Shadow.
Oh, gathering of champions! The revels begin!
Bloodborne, RE9, Persona 6. I mean, I could see like Persona.
Conceptually, the old monk from Demon Souls
Two
is
blood,
one of
two
the
bones.
coolest ways From Software
wait.
has tried to push
Two
its
blood,
vision
two
of
more-
PvP multiplayer invasions.
Bloodborne.
Instead of a traditional computer-controlled boss, the old
Blood
monk has a
Planet
chance
4
at being
confirmed.
puppeted
No,
by
it's
another
not.
player. While the level of challenge the old monk
Kingdom
possesses
Hearts better
largely
be in this.
depends
I'm
on the
fucking
skill of
delusional.
the
Yes!
player,
McBingus.
this unusual
Yep.
event nonetheless does a good job of reminding you that
This
enemy
was
players can
GTA
appear in your
6. They
game
should
at
do GTA
any
6
time,
early.
even during a boss fight.
Man. 24.
While many of its bosses have been totally eclipsed by more elegantly designed foes in subsequent games, Demon Souls' puzzle-style showdowns remain fascinating high points in From Software's library.
Oh, God.
Old Hero is the best example. A tall, glowing,
Yum.
hard-hitting ancient warrior who is completely blind. He flails out in all directions.
So what,
but his inability to
figure
track you
from
by
doors?
sight makes avoiding his blade practically trivial. However, while he can't see you, he can hear you.
No, really?
And so
That's
the clash
crazy.
against Old Hero becomes a quasi-stealth experience. It's hardly a difficult
duh.
fight, settling into a pattern of sneaking into position, striking the hero's ankles, and then silently holding
his
back
ankles is
until he
crazy.
resets his patrol.
Yo.
Despite this, Old Hero stands as a unique event in
that's
FromSoft
kinda-
history and laid the groundwork
kinda fire,
for
though.
esoteric
No pun
bosses like
intended.
Elden Ring's Renala and Sekiro's folding screen monkey.
Monkey.
Dragons are typically some of the toughest bosses in From Software's games, but early dragon fights in games like
Play
Dark
this
Souls
day
and
one on
Demon
Game
Souls
Pass.
felt more like prototypes
No one
compared to some of
cares.
the epic dragon fights
So I want
that appear
Sonic
in newer
now.
games. A turning point for
Oh,
Fantasy's
sucks, haha.
iconic
No,
winged
don't be silly,
beasts,
suspended.
when dragon fights truly began
AI
to
in
feel
video
like
games will
epic
make this much
clashes
more
came
interesting.
in Dark
AI has
Souls
been
2's
used for
Sunken
years.
Crown trilogy,
Like,
with the battle
ever wonder
against
how
Sin, the
NPCs are
slumbering
made?
dragon. With swelling
AI,
music
bro.
accompanying this
Want
monstrously
Persona,
difficult
Persona!
in the depths of a poisonous cavern, Sin
When
is
does
the
it start?
template for how
Maybe-
cool and
look at the-
terrifying all
whatever.
later dragon fights
Deltarune
feel
Chapter
in
6.
From Software games.
Bro, what? Deltarune Chapter
While you put
6.
down a number
GTA
of
5.
eldritch creatures during your journey
What?
through Yharnam, none
Makes no
reflects
sense.
Bloodborne's
Spider-Man 3,
relationship with the
$200
works of
games.
Lovecraft, quite like Ebritis,
Quintuple
daughter
A.
of the cosmos. A mass of tentacles,
Where Persona
growths,
at?
and wings.
Where's
She's the
Persona?
creature worshipped by the healing church
Bloodborne,
and the
Sonic
origin
Racing.
point of blood ministration.
We are born of the blood.
Sonic Racing.
Made men by the
Bloodborne.
blood.
Expensive game. We do not want expensive
She's
games,
a
bro.
key reason for why the events of Bloodborne.
You wanna
take
pay
place.
rent?
While she doesn't quite
Exactly.
prove as
They'll turn
fearsome as
tomorrow
her
now.
backstory may suggest, she
Can't wait for the
nonetheless
Switch
provokes a
2.
thematically rich showdown.
Again.
Her most devastating attack sees her
Not
rip open the cosmos to
Sony.
find valleys of arcane
But
energy,
okay.
while her regurgitated blood
Where's
inflicts
the mimic?
frenzy, a
Maybe-
status effect that slowly drives you insane by inflicting
Can't
the
fucking
eldritch
wait 20
terror
minutes,
upon your
bro.
mind.
Can't wait
As
20
you
more
said,
minutes.
It's Lovecraft as hell.
Bloodborne 60 FPS. Where's the last Ronin?
Arguably
wait for the
the
Switch
most
2.
difficult fight in Dark Souls 2, Fume
my
Knight
God, I
combines
can't.
speed and
I
brawn.
can't.
He dual wields two weapons, a long
Shut
sword
up.
for speedy attacks and a hulking
Stupid.
Buster Sword style blade for heavy
Stupid.
damage. He'll later combine the
agents.
two into
Ah.
one giant flame sword that you do not want to get on the wrong end of.
This
While the
boring,
Fume
bro.
Knight's difficulty makes him stand out,
I
he's
could've,
also
like,
very fun
been
to
drawn.
fight. FromSoft's
Discord.
dual style fights typically pit you
What?
against either a speedy knight or a heavy, but Fume Knight combines both
Discord
in
app
one
detected.
flame-wielding
No, I don't care.
package. The fight against Bale the Dread is memorable enough on its own. What with being one of the hardest bosses in a DLC featuring some of the toughest bosses throughout all of Elden Ring. But what really elevates it and sends it over the edge, making it one of the best fights throughout the series, is your NPC ally, Egon.
40 minutes.
His guttural cries of sheer hatred for Bale, both in the lead up to the fight and the fight itself, are just so unforgettable and add another layer of excitement in an already incredibly exciting face-off against a hideous dragon.
I will soon
Hey, IGN really just be collabing with anything now, bro.
Every FromSoft game has a proving ground moment relatively early on. These boss fights challenge your grasp of the game's mechanics, and if you can't overcome them, then that's likely where your playthrough ends. Bloodborne features the best of this particular style of boss with Father Gascoigne. If you just mindlessly strike at him, he will counter you with a gunshot and use of a visceral attack for huge damage. And if you just try to rely on your reflexes and dodge his attacks, Persona 5 remake, Encore 2. Hey, yo. And how few healing blood vials you
what the fuck? What?
You need to learn how to use the environment to your advantage.
My wife left me for the guy that's getting married. The Legend of Zelda on Nintendo Switch 2.
Not
related! Shut up!
Are crucial skills that you'll need to know for
ban Alex, bro. Ban Alex Santi. What kind of name is Alex Santi anyway?
Elden Ring is burst into the
like
sea
Sandy from SpongeBob?
but not many of its encounters come close to facing off against the scale of Star Scourge Radahn and his vast festival
Little Nightmares. Guys, GTA 6 is gonna show up in the stream, so chill. GTA 6, GTA 6, California. Wait, watch, what? What flags? Fear and Condemned 3, PS7. GTA 6 and KH4, please.
Plunging down to earth like a meteor hell-bent on your destruction. While the patch dropped in Elden Ring's earliest days means he'll no longer offer the same level of ludicrous challenge he once did. The battle against Radahn is still a fight that stands as one of Miyazaki's most inventive. The ability to summon numerous NPC companions you've met along your journey adds
Maybe you're just fat. You're just fat.
As the likes
the headphones fall, you're fat.
the Lion-Hearted, and everyone's favorite big pot lad, Iron Fist Alexander, join the fray.
Hello there.
It's an encounter worthy of the Festival of Combat's name,
15
and one
minutes,
that ends
guys.
in one of the most literally earth-shattering moments of Elden Ring, revealing a whole new layer to FromSoft's masterpiece.
He was a living legend if ever I saw one.
Let's see. Something we could do.
FromSoft's games are laden with melancholy, but few moments reach the heart.
Twitter's always got some good stuff, huh?
Of being asked to strike down great Grey Wolf Sif. Artorias' loyal, oversized canine companion, Sif can be found guarding a mask, wielding his large greatsword between his jaws. This may not be Dark Souls' most challenging encounter, but it is one heavy story implications. All this can't help but leave an emotional imprint on those who take part in it. As such, it remains one of the series' most enjoyable.
All my live reading Keyboard 4, exactly.
And characters are
How do you feel about
presented as morally black and white.
4 years to this classic. Why? I never understood why Girlfriend looked like this, honestly.
If you want an
What's up with
example
these
of
ladies?
one
They're just
of,
like
if
mommy
not
mirrors
the
and
most
shit.
purely aggressive bosses in Souls-like history, look no further
This is the
than
way,
Malekith. Even in his bestial
This shit
first
for
phase,
free.
he rushes towards you, darting
This
in
is
and
my
out of the
Eggman.
fight, tossing rocks at you even as he dodges away.
Oh,
but the
okay.
real terror begins when he throws away his robe and reveals his
so
true
cool.
form.
Oh, dang.
Malekith, the Black Blade. He doesn't even restore his health, but it never feels like he's coming into
Start destroying each other? Let's remember why we're working together.
Sonic, shut the fuck up!
Multiple follow-ups that are easy to catch you by surprise.
Get up on that!
That's
really good, actually.
Memory. Despite this difficulty, though, Malekith remains one of the most memorable boss fights throughout all of Elden Ring.
This is
for
crazy.
How high intensity the whole fight is, right from the get-go.
Oh, okay.
Dancer of the Boreal Valley is a visually stunning, technically unique
our first
wielding
Sega
a
weapon
pair of
for
curved blades. This giant armored boss utilizes her long limbs and erratic fighting style to keep players on their toes. Unusually timed animations mean you
We don't
never
want
know
it.
when
Nobody
she's gonna
cares.
strike, nor
It's
from
kinda
what
cool.
distance, making it hard to predict her moves. But
I
Dark
began
Souls
this
3's
moment.
animation team deserves extra credit for creating such an eerie figure
No
whose
idea who that
dance-like
is.
movements
I mean,
certainly live up to
nah,
her
but
name.
if it's Sega, then it's good.
The first time players face off against Sekiro's Genichiro Ashina, the battle takes place in a field of ruins.
Oh God, what is
lit night. While the boss fight will likely last only a few short minutes, it is one of the most memorable fights in the entire game.
I don't even want to
until
click on that,
you
bro.
face him again atop Ashina Castle, where you'll face one of the most epic duels in From Software's history. Crossing swords with Genichiro Ashina will require
Not
all
the
the
hand.
and guile, and learning to deflect
Stop
literal
saying
lightning
I'm
back
wrong.
at your
Okay.
foe is perhaps
Light
Sekiro's
screen.
mythical swordsman fantasy at its most potent. Ultimately,
Okay.
though, this fight is a test to see whether you grasp Sekiro's
Okay.
key
Look,
concepts
look,
of
look.
parrying
Right.
and deflecting.
Right.
Because if you're not
There you
prepared for
going. Right, there you
Genichiro,
go. Okay.
you're not prepared for Sekiro.
Right. Yo!
As Sekiro's storyline begins to branch
Bro.
into its final act, progressing towards
Okay,
the
look where you're
purification
going, dude.
involves killing Wolf's imposing and traitorous
Bro,
father,
fuck
Al.
you.
What's the matter, Stray?
Keep casting.
Nothing left.
Yes, absolutely.
The fight's emotional blows
Oh,
are
okay.
second only to its physical ones, as Al is one
That's
of the
that.
most aggressive and hard-hitting bosses in the entire game. He has an arsenal of lethal gadgets up his sleeve, hurling handfuls of shuriken as he leaps through the air and casting trails of thick smoke and
Wait, what?
sparks
Remember
to
that
conceal his long-reaching
telekinetic
sword strikes.
man
Despite his
had Mike
heavy,
Pollock's toxic
muscular
behavior
physique,
clocked
he's
years ago.
surprisingly
Thank
quick,
God most fans are
especially
finally
during the
realizing
fight's
what an
second
asshole
phase,
he
when
is.
he's able to make use of a spectral owl to teleport across the arena. Now,
This is
murdering your
Pixar?
father is a difficult
Yo.
thing to do, but when the fight's as thrilling as this one, the feeling is
Oh my, I don't. Is that pixel art? I think. Oh my goodness, dude.
if
It's
there's a boss
amazing.
who can represent the very essence of Dark Souls.
Oh my God.
from the aesthetics alone,
That's
it's
scary.
the soul of Cinder. The final boss of Dark Souls 3,
Silk
this
Song,
manifestation
Bloodborne.
of every lord
A lot of
linked
people
to
are
the
saying
flame
these.
takes the form of a grim dark
I don't know how to
knight
describe it.
shrouded
Feels
in
like you're
fire.
really
Its
scared.
amalgamation
Oh my God.
nature means it fights with an
Okay,
unpredictable array
why?
of styles. One moment it can perform a
Please,
deadly
well,
pirouette
so-
with an
so-
elegant
so the
curved sword,
Persona 4
and next
remake,
close the
maybe
distance
Persona
between
5
you with
Arena,
a
Persona
piercing
3
spear
Reload too.
lunge.
Sure.
It's the fight's second
Anyway.
phase though that really locks Soul of
Of
Cinder
course-
into
of course
the
when I'm-
history books,
okay.
unleashing heavy multi-strike combos with a flaming blade. His
Of course, when I'm
attack
on
patterns
stream,
recreate those of
fucking
Wynn,
Twitter
the
decides
Lord of
to be
Cinder, and final boss of the original Dark Souls. And so
somewhat
the trilogy ends
innocent.
in a beautiful,
Flawless.
haunting reflection of its seminal first
How did we
outing.
go from Agent Japan to normal day America? Welcome to Crime City, where hustle never stops.
A brutal
Big deals, new
endurance
single
test
dropping
across
soon.
3 distinct phases. Sister Freed
How
is
the
arguably
fuck?
the most punishing
Was
boss
it just
fight in
drop
the
in, like,
entire
fucking
Dark
Mega
Souls
City?
series. Hidden away in the ashes of Ariandel DLC,
Demon Slayer,
Freed
Demon
is
Slayer,
a
Demon Slayer.
scythe-wielding nun that fights with such relentless aggression that the most difficult thing is not so much staying alive, but finding the opportunity to deal even a single point of damage. She fights alone in the fierce first and third phases,
SpongeBob.
but it's the middle phase where things really get
Help me.
going. Freed awakens the ginormous Father Ariandel, who drags himself around the arena while
my
spilling
God.
great tides of searing flame from his massive
Help.
bowl.
Oh, that's
Overcoming
needs
both
help.
Ariandel and the frost casting Freed simultaneously is a song of ice and fire for the ages. Bloodborne's most infamous foe, Orphan of Kos,
Yep.
plagues the nightmares of all who have faced it.
Oh,
The
bro,
grotesque, shrieking offspring of a
Okay.
dying great one. The Orphan is a terrifyingly fast boss. After closing the distance with a spry leap, it attacks tirelessly with lengthy, unpredictable combos that are difficult to parry and leave practically zero room for error. Oh, and if its corpse-like form wasn't gross enough, it wields its own solidified placenta as a weapon, hurling pieces of it at you as if they were organic grenades. It truly is a thing of nightmares.
I did not need to. No, I don't.
Blade of Mikola,
No.
and I have never known defeat.
No other FromSoft boss has defined
Fine-
the cultural
fine
zeitgeist
cards
like
with
how
this. What
Millennium
is that?
of Mikola did.
Okay,
that
I'm
was
done.
a clear shift in the gaming community where players steadily
I like rap, just as long as it's none of that gangster shit.
Oh my god, what the fuck do you listen to in your spare time?
I like respectable artists like Eminem, Tom McDonald, and various other rappers who...
Oh, what?
Listen, Woody, aside from the 90s rap I dabble into like Tupac...
Talking about.
skills to the test. If your name isn't Let Me Solo Her, that is. The first is a sword-centered face-off in which the legendary Twin of Mikola, who brought Caelid to ruins for an unleashing of Scarlet Rot, aims to skewer you with her mesmerizingly deadly waterfowl dance maneuver.
not
If
that
you
bad.
manage to weave yourself in and out of her
Violet,
Florian
that's
swipes,
obviously
you'll meet her second form, the beautifully destructive goddess of Rot's persona that
Yeah, that's very
unleashes
true.
sparkling red plumes that will eat at your health.
Is that Eggman?
Mania a mighty challenge to take down, and also a visual spectacle and rooted in a deep story attached to the shattering of Elden Ring's world. Sekiro's guardian ape is undoubtedly the most comedic foe on this list. As you'd expect of a giant monkey, this mighty beast lashes out with a primal rage. Its gangly limbs flailing outwards in order to sweep you off your feet. But between those strikes are moments of gleeful toilet humor as the guardian ape farts poison gas in your face and slings stinky mounds of poop across the battlefield. It's delightfully silly stuff. But the guardian ape is also the dirtiest trick FromSoft has ever pulled, and not because of all the feces. With the ape's head severed from its neck, it seems like the fight is over. The shinobi execution graphic even appears, which always marks the end of a tough battle. And then the guardian ape stands up, its head grasped in one hand, the sword that decapitated it in the other. And then you must survive a frenzied fight with the ape's shrieking reanimated corpse. There's never been a table flip quite as effective as this one. Artorias the Abyss Walker is a truly tragic figure within Dark Souls' lore. Possessed by the essence of darkness and forced to abandon
why?
Artorias is a great piece of Dark Souls writing. Not only that, he's also an exhilarating boss fight. After dying again and again to Artorias' rapid attacks and tricky combos, by the time I defeated him, I felt like I should start recording my gameplay like Sunny Legend. More so than any other fight, beating Artorias felt like a rite of passage for anyone looking to embark on the path of mastering Dark Souls. The Nameless King is an example of a perfect Dark Souls boss. He's undeniably one of Dark Souls 3's most
last time I saw one of
but
these,
nevertheless puts up a fair and
censoring was horrible.
His lightning-reefed lunges and explosive slams are clearly telegraphed, and you don't need superhuman reflexes to counter him. What you do need is endurance, persistence, and flexibility, as this long fight of two halves presents a duo of unique challenges.
That's how you do it.
Onto the grounded second phase, in which you go toe-to-toe for the thrilling finale. Fought atop Archdragon Peak within the Eye of a Storm, Nameless King provides an unforgettable spectacle soundtracked by one of the series' best ever musical themes. This really is almost as good as it gets.
Thomas, what are you gonna do?
The first time you encounter Ornstein and Smo, you might think to yourself, 2-on-1? That doesn't seem very fair. What's funny then, is that after you finally manage to kill one of them, the other absorbs their fallen allies' power, restoring all of their health, and becomes a tougher version of what you've already been fighting. No doubt prompting you to think, again, wait, that doesn't seem very fair. Ornstein and Smo established the very template for this kind of double boss fight, and it's one that From Software loves to include in virtually every one of its games released since Dark Souls. None have quite reached the level of notoriety as Ornstein and Smo, though. It's an
No! What just happened? Oh, god damn it.
Forgettable fight on its own, but its influence on the genre as a whole is what truly makes this battle so special.
What games are you hoping to see today? Game Watch 4, god damn it!
Ludwig is arguably Bloodborne's most complex boss. He constantly evolves throughout the fight, making use of new moves as you chip deeper into his health bar. Across both phases, he's able to command a total of 23 unique attacks, many of which are unleashed with such ferocity that even a minor error can leave you crushed beneath Ludwig's hooves. To defeat him, you need to fully embrace